there's a lot of things going on that make being an entrepreneur maybe a little bit better than it was a few years ago. Lean, I mean, kind of this rise of these methodologies, kind of like applying the scientific method to figuring out a profitable business model, right? It's no magic. It's pretty simple ideas. It's just getting past all of your big notions about what you're doing and getting down to like brass tacks or testable, so you can figure out what your profitable business model will be.
Who are you? What's your background?
So my name is Brian Halls, my co-founder Al. We've been in business together for the last year. We have a company called Mark. We do a social communication platform. So it's a REST API, making mobile apps that communicate Facebook, Twitter, email, SMS. We make all that for the same for you. Before that, I started up a business like you, Pain and Suffering, shut it down after about 7 years. Al, the same way. We've had kind of mixed success and failure over the years. So just a lot of hands-on, nitty-gritty down in the dirt.
What's the name of that company again?
Embark.
Embark?
E-M-B-A-R-K-E. And for the last year, we've been doing a ton of customer development and lean work. There's a guy here in town, Brant Cooper, really super knowledgeable person to seek out, but we've just been kind of sucking his brain dry for the last year.
Sorry, so just in layman's terms, you create applications for websites to communicate.
So,
kind of.
So here's the deal. We're not a consumer product. We are for developers. So instead of them having to learn how to communicate on Facebook, how to connect to Twitter, how to send text messages, how to send emails, we give them one thing to learn, and we connect to all of these social communication channels on their behalf. So a developer can learn one thing and connect to multiple networks super fast, super easy. That's what
so that's your technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in doing this, we did a ton of lean customer development work. And the techniques we're going to go over today, you can apply them to your business model, you can apply them to your product, you can apply them to many things in your business. We're going to do it today, applying to a product, right? But the same ideas.
Yeah, I mean,
really.
I was just going to say, interestingly, we went through 2 product iterations before we got to where we are today. Yeah. And the reason we got through those as quickly as we did, we realized quickly, this isn't right. Let's tweak it, move to the next thing. This isn't right, let's tweak it, move to the next thing, is because of customer development, talking to customers, talking to people, understanding what their real pains are, and actually building a product that solves their problems as opposed to what we think their problems are.
Right. And today, I want everything to be really hands-on, so interrupt as much as you want. Right? I mean, the whole point is for us to have a really good dialogue with you, understand these concepts you can apply. Right? And we're going to do application today. Really, you're looking at, you have some idea in your head about what you want to do, what you're passionate about, what your market might be, who might pay for what problem you're solving, right? But all of these things, all the things you build and do, it really comes down to just 2 things. Time and money, that's it, right? You're trying to find a profitable business model, and you only have so much time, and you only have so much money. And you're going to spend that time and that money to figure it out. And if you run out of money before you figure it out, you're dead, you're done. Right? If you run out of time before you figure it out, you're done. So lean is trying to get this learning cycle of figuring out what you need to do to get a profitable business model together with the time and money that you have. You've got to do it fast, 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 fast. You can't do everything fast. Sometimes some of the stuff that we've done, you got to build things and it's slow and it's hard. But a lot of things, you can learn many, many, many things up front. You don't have to wait the time. You talk about Eric Ries, he gives us an example. He built this whole company. It took 6 months. They spent like $5 million. They built this whole like virtual world for like online virtual meetings. I go in the space, you go in the space, we see each other, we talk. They did this whole thing, spent all this money, all this time. No one ever even downloaded it, right? He could have just made a landing page with a link, and he would have learned the same thing. No one clicked on the link, ever. It didn't matter. Didn't you spend $5 million in 6 months, right? Could have spent 10 minutes and 0 money and learned the same thing. What you want to do is do that. You want to learn now, up front, fast, and cheap what you need to know, right? So that's really what lean is about. I mean, it's you end up doing these cycles, and the cycle they call it build, measure, and learn. And this is what Eric Ries and Brant Cooper and they all basically sing the same song. And it's just this loop, right? And the more times you go around the loop, the more you learn. The focus is learning. None of you have a profitable business yet. We've been in business for a year. We're getting close, but we don't have it totally dialed in yet. Right? It takes a long time. You have to interact with your customers. You have to service them. You have to see what they do. You have to see what they'll actually pay you for. There's a lot of things you have to do. The more you can do this and the faster you do it, the less time and less money you spend, the more likely it is you're going to figure it out before you run out of business. Right? That's the whole point. And you need to do it in a fairly scientific way, because if you just guess, if you just kind of haphazardly go about it, you're not going to get clean, good data, right? You don't need to be like as statistically valid as the research lab, but you need to be confident in the data that you're getting, right? And we'll go over kind of how you do that.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
When you say lean, this has nothing to do with lean manufacturing, right?
Correct. Lean is used for
Okay.
a million different things, right? All we're trying to do is, I kind of define, like, when you're in a startup phase, you don't really have a business yet. You're trying to find a business, right? You're trying to figure it out. You have ideas, but until you're making enough money to kind of cover what you're doing and more people want your stuff, you really don't have a business yet. You're trying to find a business, trying to figure it out, right? This whole lean thing that we're talking about is about that whole early phase of, how do I figure this out to where now I know what to do and it's replicable.
So interestingly though about that is a lot of the lean startup stuff did stem from some of the lean manufacturing
Like
concepts.
the statistics part of that.
Sure.
The whole, I think the concepts come from that, right? Well, we can be much more efficient about how we produce our product.
Right.
Maybe I could be more efficient about earlier phase of my business too. What can I do? How can I avoid that 6 months and $5 million? Could I do it in 3 months and $2.5 million? Or 1 month, or 1 week, or 1 day, or 1 hour? If I can, I should. So that's what we're going to do today, right? We're going to do hands-on examples. I'm going to walk through one as a group, and then we're going to break up into 2 groups, and you guys are going to kind of get down nitty-gritty, be a company yourself, and kind of work through some ideas. All right? Questions? Okay. Lean can apply to your business model. It can apply to your product. It can apply to your customers. We're going to do today like product. So, if we're going to do product, we need to think of a product to just work with. It doesn't really matter what the idea is. I was thinking, let's just use Julian's idea of the ice cream truck, right? In fact, let's do something a little more complicated. Instead of an ice cream truck, like let's say we're downtown, I like eating at food trucks, there's a whole bunch of different food trucks downtown. I don't know where they are or when they are, so when I go to have lunch, I like the vegetarian one, or I like the Greek one, but I don't know where they are. So I think it would be a really good idea if I made a mobile app that would like show people where it is. And I think people might buy the app, or maybe the truck owners would pay me to list them on the app. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out how would we figure out whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. How would we figure out the problems with that idea? I guarantee you there's a ton of problems with that, right? All the ideas we all have, there's a ton of problems, and you need to figure out what they are. Right? So the way you do that in lean world.
I'm not sure that's how that's supposed to work.
Perfect. Stink all day. Is we want to put down what's our main idea. You know, what's the main thing that we're talking about here? So in this case, the main thing is, well, the idea is that to make an app to find food trucks. Right? That's the main idea. Now, behind this idea, there's a lot of assumptions, right? The only way we're going to figure out where the holes are in this, the parts that aren't going to work well, is by figuring out what all those assumptions are. What do you think some of my assumptions are?
That people need that.
What's that?
That people need verified food.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are food trucks.
Yeah. People want to find a food truck.
But the food truck you want is still in business.
There are a good number of trucks, right? Or whatever.
There are
You wanna,
Sufficient trucks.
Are enough trucks.
you wanna know the trucks, you wanna know the pricing, you wanna know the food turnaround time.
But we're talking about assumptions now, we're not talking about data.
That's-
Somebody else over here said another assumption,
That the food truck is still in business.
that the food trucks are in business. So like maybe, you could say that they're still in business, or maybe just that you have accurate data on them, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That, you know, in business or not.
Yeah, data about them is accessible.
Yeah, data's available.
Yeah, just like to look at them up, you're hungry, and they operate more.
What time is lunch?
Food trucks want to be located?
We gotta make this out before we can have lunch. We don't know where to go.
You're saying.
So, sorry, what else?
Food trucks want to be located?
Food trucks wanna be located. Okay. What else?
That's a great example,
That they have
I think,
GPS
because it's,
for us once.
you think it's obvious, but it's important to write it down.
Right, and if you didn't think of this, you might do a whole bunch of other stuff and go, this is gonna be awesome, and then the food truck guys go, no, I'm not gonna tell you right now.
We get too much business as a,
Right, you don't know. What else?
Are the food trucks always in the same place or do they move?
They generally move, but they'll be different. Everybody has a different pattern, right? You've got your truck, you've got your menu, you try to find people that like your stuff and go there.
So how would this work if they don't?
Don't worry about implementation. So don't think about how you'd make it yet. Just think about, with this basic idea, what inherent assumptions are important.
that people will pay for the privilege, for something to help them find a food truck.
This is valuable information.
Yeah, so there are two things. I'll mix this in, but sometimes you want to leave your monetization. You need to do the same thing, but it's often good to just focus on the problem and assumptions around the problem, and then do monetization. Because if you can identify a good problem, you might think of 5 different ways to monetize.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's do the pay and money thing. I know I put it up here, but let's do the pay and money thing kind of separate.
That an app doesn't already exist?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that it doesn't satisfy the needs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, already exist or satisfy, right?
And that trucks have GPS or a food.
Now that's implementation, but we are talking about data is available. But let's put truck locations available.
Now, assuming that trucks have GPS capabilities.
But you can solve these problems any way you want, right? This is your business, and you can do whatever you want. You're not limited by you're only limited by money in your town and your time, right? You can stick a GPS on every truck you want. But don't worry about implementation. But that's a good point. Like, you got to be able to know where they are.
Is legality usually something that we want to bring to the assumptions?
If there's some clear problem, you could say that there's legal problems. Maybe. Yeah. If there's some clear IP problem or big problem, that'd be a good thing.
Or if it's the only international market, assuming that there's.
Right. Right. The signal you're really trying to get in the beginning is a problem that causes people pain. That's the best thing. If you can find people that are in pain, like if I can get this down to somebody's pain, my pain is I walk outside and I want that Greek truck and he's not around. I don't even know where he is. I like it though and I want to buy it. That's not a lot of pain, but it's some pain. Right? If you can get down to the pain that people have, schools not being funded well enough, that's severe pain. All parents feel that pain, right? That's good. And how do you play on that? So this thing, like we want to kind of focus on the pain that the person's in as much as possible. All products aren't based on that, but one. What else?
What are we looking for, assumptions again?
Yeah, assumptions inherent in this idea.
Try and think of it as, what is something out there that if it was wrong or if it didn't exist, your product would not be successful?
Yeah. That's exactly right. We're trying to bubble up problems now. We're not going to wait 6 months, $5 million. We're going to bubble them up now. We're going to figure them out, get them out of the way, change our business to be right.
That does not, or that there aren't sufficient platforms to put your app on. possibly, or complications with those platforms.
Sufficient platforms to put your app on, you mean like phones or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
phones,
yeah.
You just say the technology exists to support such a product or something, right?
I'll even go so far as to say phones to support this app. Enough people have it.
Are there enough people that have them that would actually use it instead of the target market?
Right.
Or that people that eat on food trucks actually have smartphones or something along those lines, right?
So I think that assumption, like they don't have smartphones or they don't want to get on there. You could have something where they log in online or they sign up for your thing, and from there they just put.
Don't solve the problem yet, though.
Well, I think the assumption we're assuming that they don't have a smartphone. So if they don't
Why
have,
are
if they
you
don't have a
assuming
smart, what's that?
Why are you assuming that?
I'm assuming that their budget or the people that are actually working on the truck is part of a bigger network, and they're not actually uploading times when they're there. So you could assume that it's a
But
company.
you're way down the road on like an implementation. I mean, it's not bad.
Okay.
But you're kind of getting down the road on implementation.
You don't need GPS.
We kind of covered like truck locations available. One way to do it, we have the truck people do it. Another way to do it would be GPS. Another way, I mean, there's a lot of ways you might do that. We'll tease these guys apart.
So if this app is going to fail, if the truck's not there on time, if they're not providing food that is sane in the duration of your lunchtime,
Okay. Well, let's
they're not-
parse those things
there's
out.
something
So
that happens to the truck and they're not where you want them to be.
so here, people
It's bad service.
like
It's kinda
food
what
truck food, right? People like food truck food.
Or willing to drive to their location.
I think,
once they have the location.
What he said was like reliability of trucks,
Yeah.
I think, right?
And-
Like the
and
trucks
coming down.
are where they say they're gonna be.
That makes
It's,
sense.
status information, for example.
My
if you
problem
choose
right
down,
now is that I don't know where the truck is going to be. Right?
They
That's
can-
my problem. That's kind of where this comes from. I don't know where that truck's going to be. I don't know if that's because they're unreliable or they just go different places all the time. I don't actually pay that much attention. I like when I walk outside and the truck's there.
I think to piggyback off of what you were saying, mobile updates of status. So like, for example, say your truck's on its way.
Okay, that's implementation.
Well, no, just assuming that you'll be able to find out what the status is. Of the
Right.
truck.
So we're saying truck location's available, right?
Yeah.
That's an assumption. Yeah, that's important. Sure.
What about, I don't know how to put this, but it's like weather, like depends on the location. If it's really rainy, do they come out when it's rainy? Assuming that, you know, they operate on rainy days and it's mostly a rainy environment.
Okay, we can probably wrap a lot of that up. It's kind of in people want to find a truck, but you could also say that people have a hard time keeping track of the truck schedule based on all sorts of things. Weather, day of the week, time, I don't know, right?
What about the quality or the grade of a restaurant? What is it? The restaurant grade?
Yeah.
Don't trucks, aren't they're required to do that now? Display what it is. So if we're assuming that everything shows that it looks good, but it's actually a C, and you're gonna have a stomach bug for the next 2 days because you're eating off this truck.
But
Then
we made an assumption that people like the truck food. Right?
okay.
It kind of covers that. What you try to do, and this is very hard to do, and I don't mean to like squash ideas at all. It's very hard to take your main idea and just make sure and keep those assumptions focused without running down the path of like implementation details. Because really what you're trying to do is just, I'm teasing out my risk. These are really risks, right? As Al said, if one of these things is wrong, I'm going to run into trouble. Or at least I need to make some adjustments. Okay? So we're trying to identify the risk. Food grade, all those kinds of things. If people eat on trucks today, not a lot of risk. Right?
About assuming the trucks can handle the influx of customers.
That's again about the business. I mean, I'm assuming people are eating on the truck today. All these things are going to be relevant factors, but they're not really a risk about people wanting to use my app. Right? I mean, maybe if people today have trouble waiting in a really long line for a truck, maybe that's. But it's not different with my app.
Do I really care? Like, is there really a market for this? Like, I got 55 apps on my phone. Am I really going to be going to the food truck one at lunch when I'm working?
That's a big risk, right? So people have to want to find a truck enough to actually get my app and use it, right? So that's something I guess is really good. But I think this is a reasonable list. It's a reasonable list to start. Now, what you want to do is you need to pick which of these things is the riskiest assumption. Which one's the most dangerous? Which one, if it's way different than what I think, means I'm in big trouble.
Food truck.
First market size. Enough trucks, you don't have enough merchants to
Truck
transfer your
location is available.
People want to find food. Available, I agree with that one.
So we got some votes for truck locations available.
Food truck wants to be
You know,
located.
people want to find.
People want to
Yeah.
find food trucks.
So the food truck is possible to be, they actually care to be located.
And people.
People want to find trucks.
People want to find a truck.
Yeah.
The number of trucks. There's not enough trucks, that's really.
Enough trucks? Why do you think it's important that we identify what we think is the riskiest one first? Why's that?
We can't solve that problem, we're out of business.
Largest problem you've got, if you're gonna start the largest problem first, you might as well let it go now.
Right. Think about that time and money thing again. The thing that's riskiest, you take your biggest risks out first, right? I might only have to do this once and just go, this is a terrible idea, right? I might have to do it 20 times, I don't know. So you guys are a business, which one do you want to test first? Of those four?
People want.
People want to find a truck.
Yeah.
So people want to find a truck? People like that? How many? How would you decide? That's a reasonable way to decide.
Just ask the room.
Okay.
Take it.
Okay, well let's take that one. I'm gonna grab this other one. So how are we gonna figure this out now?
Surveys.
Ask the people.
Go to the food trucks.
Stand at the food trucks.
So we're saying our riskiest assumption is that people want to find a truck.
I mean, we could kill 3 out of 4 in one time by creating a survey to give to the truck drivers, find out if there's a market out there and this customer want an app.
So yeah, we need to test and figure out accurately. I mean, we want to know. We don't want to fool ourselves, right? We really want to know the real deal, whether people want to find trucks. You proposed doing a survey with people that own the truck.
It doesn't matter, if you want to make sure you do it yourself, then you go there and ask the food truck drivers if they want it, if they don't. And then you ask the customers if they want it. You go to all the locations and each of the trucks, or you give the surveys, create a survey that you can give the trucks and stuff. That you can hand out to the people. The people can go online and say yes or no, and if there's a response, then that.
What do you guys think about that? He proposed 2 things. Go talk to people standing in line with the truck owners and do a survey.
Costs a lot of time. It's gonna take a lot of time. Number one, to find the trucks move, to figure out what schedule they are. You know, they're all different. So it's gonna take a lot of time to route and find out where those